HBO Saturday nights.
Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to go to school here.
When someone fights the odds.
Everyone said it couldn't be done.
And faces the heartbreaks.
You're 5 feet nothing, 100 and nothing, and you got hardly a speck of athletic ability.
For a shot at his dream.
Someday I'm going to come out of that tunnel and I'm going to run onto this field.
You want him on your team.
I've been ready for this my whole life.
Rudy. Premieres Saturday, November 12th on HBO.
We have complete clearance for launch. We are go.
Ignition sequence start. Engines armed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All engines running. Launch commit. Liftoff.
Yeah, good thrust on all 5 engines. Setting throttle. Roll complete. Roger.
November 12th, the next big event. Whitney, live in Johannesburg, South Africa. Whitney is taking you 8,000 miles to perform a concert she's never done before. November 12th, Whitney returns to HBO, the only place for superstar concerts. Whitney, the concert for a new South Africa, live only on HBO.
HBO Boxing, the best fighters in the world, fight here.
This week on Inside the NFL, we're on the road in beautiful San Diego to visit the first place Chargers. Among the guests joining us will be linebacker Junior Seau, quarterback Stan Humphries, and head coach Bobby Ross.
I think that there's a tremendous amount of character in our football team and in our players, and I honestly believe that that's what's helped us to get where we are right now, and I don't think we've forgotten that.
A revealing look at Natron Means, who isn't surprised by his own success.
I wanted to start last year. I mean, there were games when I would come out and I would play well, and I didn't get the start, and I'd be kind of frustrated.
And our own Jimmy Johnson comes down hard on the Cowboys' most recent problems.
And, they've got to, take this into consideration and not party quite so much after a victory or even after a loss.
And now, from San Diego, home of the 6-1 Chargers, here are your hosts, Glenn Dawson, Nick Bonicatti, Chris Collinsworth, and Jimmy Johnson.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to San Diego, California. We are at the San Diego Yacht Club. When we talk about Yacht Club, we're talking about America's Cup. And, folks, it's about 20 paces to our left. We wanted to bring it out here, but it's under lock and key. They wouldn't let us have it. This is also the home of the San Diego Chargers. San Diego no longer undefeated. They lost last Sunday to the Denver Broncos. That's why this guy is smiling.
Yeah, but they would have been undefeated. They let them wear these uniforms. They'd have been coming after Bonaconte's undefeated record. But the NFL stepped in and said, no, I can't wear these things anymore.
They won 3 games with the regular uniforms, 3 games with the so-called throwback uniforms.
Right.
But you know something? What? I never saw a uniform win a football game. And in honor of Larry Zonka, number 39, our undefeated record remains intact. And so much for that.
You're not superstitious at all. Along with their fans and probably a lot of their players, I think that uniform's a heck of a lot better than what they're wearing today.
Well, let's talk about football because the Chargers are a solid football team. I mean, they have it going together in all phases of the game.
I think, really, when you look at the Chargers, they're so similar to what the Redskins were years ago when Bobby Beathard was putting together that group of personnel and the scheme that they have. They really have the big back to run the football, Natron Means, and then they have the receivers that can go deep down the field and the big play receivers. Now, what it forces the defense to do is play an 8-man front to try to stop the run, singles up the receivers, or if they double the receivers, they give the ball to Means and they pick up first downs.
Yeah, but you talked about the wide receivers, and probably the one thing they don't have is a Tim Brown kind of a guy on this team. Somebody on third down that feels comfortable going over the middle and making the tough catch. So now all those defenses are starting to really focus in on Ronnie Harmon, who has been their third down receiver coming out of the backfield. I like their receivers as deep threats, but I'm not so sure about their ability to convert on third down.
You're talking about receivers. You know, a lot of folks are giving a lot of static to San Diego because they did not rehire Anthony Miller. He's now with the Denver Broncos, but with him. But $10.5 million is what they saved. You know what that meant to them? They got 4 starters on their defense playing right now. And, Nick, you know defenses win championships.
And I'll tell you, Denver showed on Sunday that you can stop Natrone Means and you can beat the San Diego Chargers. One thing that we know for sure, that now the defenses will put up 8-man fronts. They're going to challenge Natrone Means to beat that. They're going to blitz a lot because they want Stan Humphries to beat them through the air. I think Humphries is a very good quarterback, but he can't beat you throwing the ball 50 times a ball game.
Well, and see, he's not healthy right now, and that was their downfall last year when he was not healthy. And so that's going to be a big problem with the Chargers because their pressure is going to be on Humphries to play well.
Nick, I'm proud of you. You pronounced Natrone Means his name correctly. We're going to be talking about him later on in the cover story. And only 1 touchdown pass by the Chargers in the last 4 games. That is a problem. You know, in the NFL, there's no such thing as a sure thing, even when an undefeated team is at home against a 1-5 underdog.
Borrowing some of the swagger usually associated with teams in Northern California, fans in San Diego hope to egg on Stan Humphries and the Chargers, who found themselves short-circuited last Sunday by the Broncos. And while the Chargers weren't showing much spark on offense, John Elway may have jump-started Denver's season.
Out of the gun, back to throw with pressure, steps up, looks, throws long, he's got Sharp open! He caught it at the 5 and he's in for the end zone! Touchdown, Denver!
With his Broncos off life support for the time being, Wade Phillips hopes for more of a recovery this week against the Browns.
Well, there's a big buck kicking contest today, and Cincinnati's supplying the butt.
The Browns indeed kicked Bengal butt, sending Cincinnati's offense back to the drawing board.
They started like this. They started in a 57.
Right.
Head up. They weren't offset. Head up.
If we're talking 29, I mean, off the game plan, not the rub, just grace.
Big Daddy Wilkinson's beautifully executed spin move earned the top draft choice his first professional sack. It was one of the few high spots for the Bengals, and it caused a concussion that plagued Vinny Testaverde the rest of the afternoon.
That was Big Daddy there, right? Yeah. Did he do that on the K-67 during the start of the game? Or did he just react back that way on that thing? All right, just tighten your aiming points a little bit on him, okay?
There's 2 things that's happened out there right now. Number 1, we got them on the run a little bit, all right? They're starting to play a little bit more man coverage. So let's get after their ass, stay after them, just stay after them, and let's keep making plays, all right? We're going to go down and score a touchdown this next drive.
Let's go now! Let's go now, Randy!
The Browns have lost fullback Tommy Bardell for the season. Last week, Leroy Horde, his replacement, paced their attack with a pair of touchdowns.
To the 5, still on his feet. Touchdown, Cleveland Brown. Powerful running by Leroy Horde.
Drawing that energy now. Let's go. Drawing the energy. Let's go. Baby. Energize. Get it from me. Get it pumped, baby. Get it pumped.
Cleveland's energy came from their special teams.
His own goalpost. Here goes the snap. It's high. Pulls it down. It's blocked. Rolls in the end zone. Travis Hill recovers. Touchdown, Cleveland Brown. The special teams come up big, and the Browns take the lead 19-13.
On back-to-back punts in the space of a minute 47, the Browns' special teams broke open the game with 2 touchdowns. The last was by Eric Metcalf, who on opening day had burned the Bengals in exactly the same way.
5 to the 40, 35, all the way back to the 30. Now he eludes a man. 35 down the sideline. 50, one man to beat. 40, 35, forget it.
Amazing.
How would you like to be beaten today? Eric Metcalf and the Cleveland Browns special teams not only asked that question, but they have an answer for it.
6-1, baby. Going 7-1 next week, baby. That's all I got to say, baby.
And Cleveland could well go 7-1 with a win in Denver on Sunday, while the hapless Bengals most likely will be 0 for 8 after entertaining the Dallas Cowboys.
The Cleveland Browns also now at 6-1, and joining us from the San Diego Chargers, Junior Seau, who had simply an incredible football game last week against the Denver Broncos. 19 tackles. I think that equaled your career high, right, Junior?
Definitely. It was a nice game. It was a game in which we needed to win, but we came out short.
It's really been a different sort of Junior Seau this year. You've always had a lot of fun playing the game, but this year with the new defensive scheme, it seems that you've been freed up to do a few more things, haven't you?
Definitely. Chris, what we have here is a new scheme coming in, and whether they want to admit it or not, we have safety rotations which back me up. There are plays in which they allow me to make calls and do the things that I love to do, which allows me to run and hit. And the guys up front are just performing well.
Tell me about the guys up front. They're called 2 tons of fun here in San Diego.
I call them 2 tons of fun because they're big guys. They're big guys and they love to have fun on the field and off. They're giggly guys. We call one Grizzly, and his name is Sean Lee, and we have Big Purple or whatever you want to call him, but this guy is a house, and his name is Ruben Davis.
There's another impact guy on this football team, and he's on the coaching staff. Willie Shaw has, I think, done a remarkable job. Last year, your defense really struggled against the pass, but this year, so much better. Tell me about the impact that he's had.
Willie Shaw is a great coach. He's a player coach, I can say. He came in with the scheme in which, it was simple. It was very simplified. He gathered everything from Arnsberger, put it together, and he put it in his own touches, and it's working well for us.
A lot of attacking within the zone now,
yeah,
right?
we're dropping back in a zone, but it's not a zone per se. Once a man is in that zone, you can go ahead and man up on him very hard, and I think it kind of confuses the quarterbacks.
Well, one guy you'll have to attack this week, Chris Warren with the Seattle Seahawks. He's a great football player.
Oh, no doubt about it. Chris Warren is a guy that's not being respected, and I think he's one of the unknown or unspoken heroes in the National Football League. This guy has the talent of Eric Dickerson type. He's a big running back. He cuts. He sees the field very well, and he's doing a great job for Seattle.
Junior, best of luck.
Thank you.
Lenny, back to you.
Junior Seau, what a player. 19 tackles in one game. I didn't have 19 tackles my whole career.
What about when you threw those interceptions? You had a tackle then.
No, I never got the opportunity because somebody was generally laying on top of me. But Junior Seau was talking about Arnsberger and the coaching staff simplifying the defenses. What was he talking about?
Well, Lenny, all during the week, Arnsberger and Willie Shaw, the defensive backfield coach, will probably put in 15 coverages to practice. And they'll also have maybe 10 blitzes. But as the game time comes, they have a pregame meeting about 10 o'clock Sunday morning before the game. Arnsberger will then take those 15 coverages and condense it down to maybe 4 or 5 coverages, and those 10 blitzes down to 3 blitzes. So before the team hits the field, he's trying to eliminate any possibility of those guys making a mental mistake.
Well, the guy that's really benefiting is Junior Seau. And Jimmy, I want to ask you about him because you had the opportunity to scout him when he was in college. What kind of a player was he in college? What kind of a player is he today?
Well, Lynn, when Junior Seau came out of Southern California, we were looking at college players all throughout the country, 300 or 400 players, and our coaches and our scouts evaluated all these players, really studied them, and after studying them, we had Junior Seau rated as the #1 player coming out of college. As it turned out, we weren't able to trade up to get Junior Seau, but we did move up, and we took the guy we had rated #4, Emmitt Smith, so we had a pretty good pick. Now, Junior Seau, we had him rated #1 that year, and as it's turned out, I think he is the best linebacker in the NFL today.
You had #1 Junior Seau, #4 Emmitt Smith. Who was 2 and 3?
Well, we had a pretty good pick. #3, Cortez Kennedy.
Very good, yes.
Turned out to be a pretty good defensive lineman. And #2, we might have missed a little bit, Blair Thomas, but a lot of people had him rated high.
Hey, nobody's perfect, not even Jimmy Johnson, I guess. Well, despite the defense of that great linebacker Junior Seau, the best team from California may still be the San Francisco 49ers.
Throughout the course of the season, contenders must prove their resiliency, their ability to bounce back from defeat. After suffering key injuries to their offensive line and a pair of early losses, the 49ers have that spring in their step once more, especially Ricky Waters, who cut the struggling Bucs no slack.
To get on the board first here today. Taylor out to the left side, handoff to Waters, breaks outside, he's got the angle, I think, 5, dive, touchdown 49ers!
Waters hit the century mark for the first time this season, while the Niner defense just went out and hit. Steve Young bounced back with his first 200-yard passing game in a month and bounced off a bunch of bungling Buccaneer defenders as San Francisco cruised to an easy 25-point win.
Young's pass inside, touchdown 49ers. It is Ed McCaffrey.
Tampa Bay seems to have unhitched the bungee cord altogether and will likely continue their free fall against the Vikings this week. Minnesota got a jump start on the action by playing on Thursday, but one Viking was whistled for a false start before the game even began. When the opening whistle finally did blow, Brett Favre soon wished it hadn't as he was knocked out of the game. His replacement, Mark Brunell, however, ran the Packers to a 10-7 halftime lead.
Seconds to snap it. Gets it snapped. Now he on a quarterback draw. He'll go. He scores a touchdown. Quarterback draw.
Workmanlike defense, less than daring play calling, and a lone field goal were the lowlights in a yawner of a second half. And in overtime, the Vikings finally prevailed.
The snap from Morris, spotted, booted, the kick on the way, and the kick is good. And the Vikings have beaten the Packers in overtime.
Green Bay trails Minnesota and Chicago and will meet the Bears this week in a pivotal showdown. For Bear quarterback Eric Kramer, it was homecoming in the Silverdome. Kramer is the last quarterback to take the Lions to the NFC Championship game, and his old buddies let him know that the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Hey, bro, I'm still open. Still throw me the ball, and I still love you. I'm looking for. All right, bro. Stay healthy, baby.
Dave Wanstead's Bears were on fire, winners of 3 in a row, while Wayne Fonts was in the fire, having lost 3 straight. It was a midseason test of character for Detroit.
Everybody put it in their mind. We got to fly around, be very physical, sacrifice for each other, do whatever it takes to win. Win on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Perhaps Kramer was a bit over-anxious to impress his old fans. Perhaps Scott Mitchell felt the pressure of living up to his $11 million contract. Whatever the case, both teams made big mistakes instead of big plays.
Let's go, Barry! What I'm saying is, he's got that end coming hard down inside. That belly's going to bounce outside to the nickel will all the time.
When the belly, wearing number 20, bounced outside, the game heated up in a hurry.
From the sweep to the 5 to the 10. He's off to the races. Bring it, 20. It's a sprint. 30, 40. Buried to midfield. He's chased. Wolford on the angle at the 20. Donnell Wolford will chase him down inside the 10-yard line. Wolford had him on the angle. That's the only way that he was going to catch up with Barry Sanders.
After Barry ripped off 84 of his 167 yards, Lion linebacker Chris Spielman simply ripped off Chris Gedney for a 14-0 Lion lead.
Stolen by Spielman. 10-5. Touchdown. Chris Spielman steals it from Chris Gedney and takes it out for the touchdown. Big play when we need it.
Which is exactly what the Bears got just before the half.
Kramer steps up over the middle of the end zone. Touchdown, Nate Lewis. Kramer put it on his fingertips, and I do mean a fingertip grab in the middle of the end zone.
Time out.
Not timeout. Time for Mel Gray, the NFL's all-time kick return leader. How did he set the record? Not by waving for the fair catch, but by racing straight up the middle. 102 yards later, he kissed them all goodbye.
And he bangs it to Mel Gray. Waiting. A yard deep. He'll come out to the 10, middle of the field, 15, 20. He's got a seam. 30, 35. Mel off to the races, far side. He's 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. He's gone. Touchdown, Lions. Mel Gray, 101 yards. 101-yard kickoff return by Mel Gray.
Kramer answered right back with a long-distance play of his own.
Back to below Kramer. Wings it deep down the left side. He's got Graham out there. Makes it back to the 35. He's going all the way.
Despite 2 touchdown passes and over 300 yards by their old quarterback, Fonz and his Lions had a victory they hope to build on this week against the Giants.
I want to say it was just a phenomenal effort by a bunch of players that a lot of people thought would fold. They did not fold. This team will continue to play well. There's no quitting this football team. It's a good program. I believe it, and so do they.
Coming up, a look at the explosive Natron Means and an interview with quarterback Stan Humphries.
No question about it, Detroit and Chicago, 2 teams dedicated to winning with defense. And speaking of dedicated defense, we have Leslie O'Neal here of the San Diego Chargers. And Leslie, first of all, congratulations. A great start for this football team.
Well, thank you very much. I don't think we expected to be 6-1 at this time, but we're starting to play well, and hopefully things will continue.
Now, let me ask you, because we talked before this season started at an exhibition game, and you weren't too happy about being named the franchise player and having to stay in San Diego. I know your contract's up at the end of the season. Would you like to go elsewhere?
I don't know. I just have to wait and see. It's always a possibility to go out and play for another team. I've just always been interested in seeing if I could go somewhere else and play and make things happen. People get in a rut playing in certain places, and I wouldn't say I'm in a rut yet, but I might be down the road.
I wouldn't mind being in your kind of rut here at 6-1. Tell me about Bill Arnsparger. Here's a guy that used to be known for a bend but don't break kind of a defense, but it seems that this year he's been attacking more. Is that true?
Oh, definitely. We were a lot more aggressive this year. You know, Junior Seau's having a great year. He's blitzing a lot more, opening up things for all of us. We just unfortunate this past week. We blitzed a little bit, maybe not too much, but we just couldn't get it all the way down. You know, he eluded the rush quite a bit.
Well, this week you get a chance to try and get Rick Meyer down, a guy that can really move around in the pocket. How much of a problem is it to get after him?
It's a tough problem. You know, he moves around very well. He's strong. He throws the ball quick. I think the difference is he gets rid of the ball a lot faster than some of the quarterbacks that we face, but he has the abilities of Elway or some of the other guys. He'll be tough to get down.
All right, Leslie, well, good luck, and we'll see you this weekend.
Thanks very much.
All right. No question about it. A great defense's best friend is a great running game, and the San Diego Chargers have one of the best, and he's the subject of this week's cover story, Natron Means.
Off the field, he is anonymous. Natron Means, with his hip-hop 90s style, looks like an average 22-year-old, but oh, how looks can be deceiving.
He's just a country boy from North Carolina that's been blessed with a great deal of ability and loves to play the game.
Chargers winning, doing the Natron dance. Chargers winning, doing the Natron dance. Woo.
During the offseason, in what was seen by some as a gamble, the Chargers traded Marion Butts to New England. That made Means the main man, and now averaging nearly 100 yards a game in just his second year in the league. For Natron Means, this is the culmination of a lifelong fantasy.
I started playing football when I was 7 years old. I first started, I was an offensive lineman for like 1 year. Then after that, I started playing running back. And I remember times, when I would be running the ball, and I used to get, personal foul penalties called on myself because when I'd be running, I would run too hard and I would drop my heads and butt the kids and stuff like that. And the ref would call the personal fouls on me.
But it was Natron's mom, Gwen, who threw the biggest flag, nearly ending her son's career before it got started.
When I was in the 7th grade, I was going through one of those changes in my life where, I get into a lot of trouble, fights and stuff. And at the end of the school year, they were sitting down and her and the principal were having a conference. And the principal told my mom that he felt that I had the attitude that because I played football, that I should be getting special treatment, that I felt I could get away with certain things that other kids couldn't. And she kind of looked him in the face and she said, well, that's something you don't have to worry about next year. And she stood her ground. I didn't get to play. I had to set out my whole 8th grade year.
Having learned his lesson, the Natron bomb began exploding in high school. He rushed for more than 2,000 yards his senior year while scoring 33 touchdowns. Then, after back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons at North Carolina, Means left after his junior year but was only drafted in the 2nd round.
When Natron came out, he had 2 problems, I guess, when you evaluate a player. One was that he was overweight, and the word was that he didn't like to work out a lot in the off season.
But this year, knowing he would no longer be a backup, Natron got a personal trainer and got down to business.
The thing we wanted to get across to him that to be a great back in this league for a long time, the best thing to do is never get out of shape and stay in condition year-round, and then he has a chance to be one of the great backs in the league if he does that and take care of his body.
I think my work ethics have changed a lot, though. Because now I realize that, the off-season, really plays such a big part of the in-season. So now, I learned a lot from it, and, I think I'm benefiting now.
Leading the AFC with 8 touchdowns, the 5'10", 240-pound Means is deceptively fast. His distinct style has captivated the nation.
I would describe him as two people or two different types of runners. I think he's got the ability to be a slash runner and make people miss. And then bruising kind of an Earl Campbell, run people over.
He's the kind of back that punishes a tackler. When he gets hit, he doesn't go down, he kind of bounces off. He bounces off things like a bumper car. He's really exciting.
Even with all the impressive moves, Natron still sees himself as that average guy.
I don't try and push the image of the macho NFL football player type guy, I'm still the same old person that I was, when I was in high school. I'm laid back. I don't try and be anything that I'm not. And that's just it. What you see is what you get.
And helping to get the Chargers to the Super Bowl would definitely be a means to the perfect end.
Natron Means only part of the equation with this San Diego offense. Joining us now, their quarterback, Stan Humphries. And Stan, good to see you again.
Good seeing you.
I remember at the beginning of the season, during the exhibition season, we had a chance to talk, and we talked about Natron Means, and you said no question about this guy's talent. The only thing you doubted was whether or not he was completely 100% dedicated to the game. Do you still feel that way?
Oh, I feel much better about Natron. I think he's coming out here and proving to the league and to everybody else what kind of player he is. And we had no doubts as a football team or as an organization what he could be. It's just a matter now of him withstanding 16, 18, 20 games and carrying the ball 20 or 30 times to stay healthy. But he's having a great year, and I think that's a tribute to the guys up front in front of him, the reason that I'm having such a good year.
You may have to carry the ball 50 times in this game if your ankle doesn't get better. How are you feeling? Will you be able to play against Seattle?
Well, it feels good. I think as the week goes along that it'll get better, and I think when Sunday rolls around that I'll be ready to line up and won't have any doubts about the ankle and just get ready to play.
One of the things that I've noticed about your offense the last couple of weeks is that the number of big plays haven't been there like they were early in the season. Anthony Miller now with the Denver Broncos. Are you fully confident in this group of wide receivers to take this team on into the playoffs?
I think so. I think we've got more speed at the wide receiver position than we've ever had before. When Anthony was here, we had it all in one guy. Now I think the three guys that we have out there have more speed than we've ever had at that position, and we're able to make the big plays. Lately, they've been taking the big plays away and making us kind of take 10, 12, 14 plays to move the ball all the way down the field and score. And we had a few chances this past week against Denver, and we didn't hit them. But that's going to happen. You're going to miss them now and then, and it's just a matter of not letting that carry over to this week.
I noticed in the ball game last week against the Denver Broncos, they seemed to bring more pressure against you guys than we've seen in the past. This week, Sam Adams and Cortez Kennedy, you can expect that same kind of pressure. Will that be a problem with your bad ankle?
I don't think so, not at all. I have all the confidence in the world in the guys in front of me. Cortez and Sam Adams are no doubt probably one of the better two guys in the middle of a defense to rush up the gut. And they're going to be bringing pressure just like Denver did. We had our shots against Denver, we just didn't hit them. And hopefully this week against Seattle, if they bring it and we can pick it up, then we can hit those shots and make the big plays that we haven't made in the last couple of weeks.
Well, I know you can't wait to get back to that ice tank and get the ankle healthy, so good luck this week.
Thanks a lot.
Lenny, back to you.
I want to talk about throwbacks. You and Chris talked about throwback uniforms at the beginning of the show. I want to talk about Stan Humphries. He's a throwback player. I say that because he believes that unless the bone is sticking out, he's going to stay in the game. You know, Stan had a lot of success throwing to his wide receivers early in the year, but in the last 4 ball games, he's only thrown 1 touchdown pass to them.
You know why, Lenny? Because those wide receivers were facing zone defenses early in the year because Natron Means was a surprise. As soon as Natron Means got on track and started shredding defenses, defensive coordinators started playing a 7- and 8-man front, which meant now these cornerbacks were going up face-to-face with wide receivers Jefferson, Say, and Tony Martin. And now playing man-to-man, they're not physical wide receivers, and Jimmy, they are having trouble getting open.
Well, Nick, you look what other teams do against the 8-man front or when they're down on the goal line. You know, they go to the fullback or a pass-receiving tight end. You look at the Dallas Cowboys, Jay Novacek. You look at Darrell Johnson. You look at the Miami Dolphins with Keith Jackson, Keith Byers. They're the ones that make the plays in those crucial situations. With San Diego, they don't have a fullback, and they don't have the pass-receiving tight end. That's one reason why they've kicked so many field goals.
But, Jimmy, I think they should be encouraged when they take a look at the films of Kansas City and Seattle this past weekend, because Kansas City was able to protect Joe Montana up the middle from Cortez Kennedy, and they were able to work on their cornerbacks. Lake Dawson, a rookie, caught 5 passes for 93 yards. So there is encouragement for the San Diego Chargers. Stan Humphries is from Shreveport, Louisiana, not too far from the New Orleans Superdome, scene of last weekend's wackiest game.
Busted britches weren't the only surprise in New Orleans, where the ultra-conservative Rams and Saints busted loose from their predictable ways with big play.
Back to throw. He sets. He's got time. Winging it deep. Isaac Bruce. He's there for the touchdown.
The style of this game was strictly a cloud of dust and 90 yards.
Goal from inside the 1, same formation, same call, same result. Neal doesn't get in. And the ball is being picked up by a Ram and being run back downfield. They have stolen the ball, it would appear. On the far sideline, the Rams are taking it downfield. Will this stand? Toby Wright has the football, and the Rams have a touchdown. Unbelievable.
Argument proved futile, so on the ensuing kickoff, the Saints went for the tie. Tyrone Hughes, who ran back 2 touchdowns and broke the NFL's single-game records for kickoff return yards and combined return yards, marks that had stood since 1950.
His own 9-yard line up to the 20, running to the far side. There's the seam. He's up to the 40. 2 men to beat. He's to the 40 of the Rams. 30, cuts it back. Still running. Tie on the fly. Touchdown, Saints! The Daily Double, boys!
Thanks to this week's bye, quarterback Jim Everett gets a full fortnight to savor the victory over his old team. While the veteran quarterback was responding to the call in Louisiana, a rookie quarterback got the call in Indiana, Gus Frerotte. But first, he had to look and learn.
Falk is on the left-hand side of Harbaugh, out of the shotgun spread. The direct snap from center. The rush is on. Throws down the right side. And it is caught for the touchdown. A juggling catch on the right sideline to the end zone by Sean Dawkins.
When Gus got his chance, he made the most of it, throwing for 2 touchdowns and no interceptions.
Throws into the corner of the end zone and a touchdown. The catch is made. Straight back to pass. Looks, fires into the end zone. Diving catch. Touchdown. Redskins.
In the 4th quarter, Andre Collins put the D back in D.C.
It's going to be picked up for a touchdown. Going in, Andre Collins. Step right in front of Roosevelt Potts.
The Skins are no longer gloomy with Gus at the helm. This week they return home to the friendly confines of RFK to host the Eagles. Arrowhead Stadium has been anything but friendly for the Seahawks, who have only won there 1 time since 1981. On the field, Joe Montana was no Mr. Nice Guy either, throwing for 2 touchdowns.
Stretching for the goal line, and he is into the end zone. Touchdown. Kimball Anders, his 2nd touchdown of his career.
The Seahawks did manage some success, in spite of themselves.
Handoff left side goes to Vaughn. He runs into Meyer. Now turns back to the right. Heads for the near pylon. Leaps for the end zone. Touchdown, Seattle.
When it comes to breaking games open, no one does it better than the venerable Marcus Allen. who put this game away and moved into 4th on the all-time touchdown list at the same time.
Touchdown, Marcus Allen, as he breaks free over the middle, and Marcus Allen has just passed John Riggins. 4th in the all-time touchdowns, his 117th touchdown. Marcus Allen hits the end zone, 36-yard run.
The Chiefs are just a game out of 1st in the AFC West and travel to Buffalo this week for a rematch of last year's AFC Championship.